Right, so the way I do it is I try and break down the question into like a language like just try and simplify it. Like, what are they actually asking me? What do I need to do? What are like the trigger words of the question?
Yep.
I'll then do my research. Once I've done my research, I'll then write my essay. I've got a weird way I do it. I don't know if this is weird or not, but what I do is I will just write my essay. I'll structure it, obviously. I'll say, right, this is what I'm going to do for part A, B, C, D, etc. But I'll just write my essay, and it'll be the most incoherent ramble that you've seen. But that just gets something down a bit of paper for me. So I go, right, I can work with this now. And what I'll then do is I'll rewrite the whole essay again and use that as a kind of like a demo, if you will. That's my demo essay. And then I'll redo it, but then I'll change the language in it. I'll make it more academic. I'll make it. I'll use a thesaurus if there's kind of words that I might not be too confident in using, or if I want to try and make it read in a better academic language, I'll try and do that. And then once I've done that, I'll actually go and do it again for a third time. And by the time I've finished my third essay, if you read the first essay and the third essay, they're two totally different bits of work. I just find that's the best way to do it. I think the hardest thing when you're doing an essay is actually writing it. That's the hardest thing you can do. I'll do loads of research, no problem. But then see when it comes to actually sitting down and typing up your essay or writing your essay, whatever way you do it, I find that's the hardest bit. But the best thing you can do is just to write it. Once you start, it's almost like a stream of consciousness. You just kind of, I find it hard to stop once I start. So once I've started, as I said, I'll just redo it again, and just make it more polished. In terms of using academic language, it's not something I do in my day-to-day life, so I maybe do struggle with it a little bit, but I just, the reading does help. Watching lectures helps as well. You pick up on little words and things like that you wouldn't normally use. And again, you can just use a thesaurus as well. But you just need to make sure it's polished and you're matching the language that's used in the readings and that the lecturer would expect you to use. And always go back to the question. There's no point in writing for the sake of writing. You always, throughout the whole time I'm writing my essay, I'm always thinking, how's this relevant to the question? Am I just rambling here? And if I am, I'll just take it
out. For me with essay writing, normally I just follow the simple rule that they taught us with essay writing. So first is the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So what I tell myself is introduction, I'm telling them what I'm going to talk about. In the body, I'm talking about it. And in the conclusion, I'm telling them what I've talked about. So normally, fine, essays can get complex here and there, but normally with the essay, that structure should work for every essay. So that I use that. And then with the question, like Gary said, I try and break it down. Like, for instance, if they say compare and contrast, if I don't know what that means, I'll Google it and then try and put it in my own words. And then I know that, okay, I'm supposed to put maybe strengths and weaknesses. That's what they're looking for. If they say reflect, or they say analyze, I'm supposed to find different opinions and then compare them, and then also maybe weigh in on my opinion and reference and all that. So basically, you take whatever words that you don't understand in the essay, try and find the meaning, and then maybe you'll understand the question better. And then also another thing, because ever since, especially in second year, they've since started being very, very strict on word count. So if an essay is maybe 3,500 words, what I do is I separate it into sections and say, okay, so for this section, I'll be talking about the strengths of a certain theory. So I'll use 500 words for that. And I'll talk about the weaknesses. I'll use 500 words. And then I'll talk about conflicting theories. I'll use, so that way I know I have to certainly use 500 because you can't go over that. If you go over that, you lose marks because they do get strict about it. Well, for GCU, I don't know about everywhere else, they do get strict about word count. So that's one thing I do also. I try and when I'm doing my essay structure, I'll say, okay, so for that section, I'll use this amount of words, and then that's my 3,500 words catered for. And then I just start populating each section. So also another thing that I do, because the difficult thing, like Gary said, is just starting. So I do initially is I read the question like over and over again, read the question, try and understand it. And then when I understand the question, I leave it because I don't have time to write it 3 times, Gary. I've got kids. So it's hard. So I read it once, I read the question once, and then even when I'm not writing it, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, okay, so in that section, maybe I can do that, and that. So when I actually go back, I'm not reading the question for the first time because sometimes things happen and I'm writing my essay 3 days before it's due. So, but if I had read the question beforehand, I know what it's about and it's not like a surprise. So, and then with regards to academic language, I think with journals, we get given journals in our recommended reading, and we come across journals in the library. So if you read journals, I think you can sort of get a grasp of how you're supposed to sound academically, because I think sometimes we can struggle with writing with the way we speak, and normally that's not academic. So, but if you read a journal or if you read like a book, you can sort of get a sense of how the authors are explaining certain things or writing certain things, and you can transfer that to your essay. Also, it gets better with each essay. When it comes to academic writing, I think it gets better with each essay and feedback and that. So you just pick on like whatever they're asking you to do or whatever they're asking you not to say, and then 3 years down the line you can be a published author if you want.
When I'm starting any piece of kind of writing for essays or assignments or whatever, there's 3 things that have always stuck in my head from college, right? And that's Amy's Lego bricks, breaking it down into your sections. Then when writing it, SEC, statement, evidence, comment, or conclusion, or whatever. And Gary's, just answer the question. That was my 3 things I've always moved forward with. And I'll spend our essay questions, when we're given them by the lecturers or the head of module or whatever, they have the question that is just complete gobbledygook when you first read it. And it's like that, making sense of it and what information they're wanting. But they also give us like a brief outline on what information they're looking for and what to include. And just kind of this, if you follow this, you'll end up with a good piece of work, basically, without telling you what to include. So I'll maybe spend a day going, right, here's my Lego bricks. How many paragraphs do I need? What information do I need? And I'll work out a essay plan. And I've got all my different coloured pens so that I can set it all out and I know what I'm doing. Then I'll set 5 days aside. And I go, right, on day 1, this is the day I'm going to, so this is my first section of work that I'm going to write about. And I'll maybe read 5 or 6 different sections of journals, research papers, articles, whatever, and just take down all the relevant information from that. I'll write all that down with all my references and then go, right, that's stage 1 done. But at the very end of the day, I'll type it all up just in any way it comes, just type it all in, cite it and reference it, and that's it done. And then day 2, day 3, day 4, I'll do the same for each section. Then on my day 1, day 2 and day 3 are all research and writing. Day 4 is introduction and conclusion. I always leave that to the end because the introduction, I want to make sure that I'm writing putting in it exactly what I'm going to talk about. And then the conclusion, I've got all the information there so I can write obviously just conclude everything up. They tell us not to do a big conclusion, just a little conclusion, because you've already got all the information there. And day 5 is read over, read over, read over. But I don't look at the word count. I just write, as like, make sure I get all the information in as much as possible. I mean, there was one of the essays was 3,000, I think had like 5,600 words. And it was just, right, go down, take that out, take that out. Is this relevant? Does this link? And then I also use the thesaurus as well. It's like, am I using the same word too much? Can I change that? Instead of using this word, it's quite common. Is there a more smart word I could use? Also, it's like things like that. And then paragraph linkers. Like, so how do I link that paragraph to that paragraph? And sentence starters, how to start a sentence. Our uni gave us a pack with all these different things in it, like a wee advice guide on how to do essays. So that's been quite good. But yeah, it's just breaking it down. And one of the tasks they gave us, see if you're struggling, start writing about anything. Just go, right, okay, I'm going to talk about, this is what happened in work today. This is what my kid done. This is what I done. Start typing, and then your brains gets in the zone, and then just start typing about your work. Start typing about the essay. Just get any information down, make sense of it at the end, bring it all together at the end. And I found that's quite good. I read, oh my God, I read one of my college essays, was it a couple of weeks ago? And then I read my last one that I just done for uni. And I was like, oh my God, my style of writing has completely changed. I'm not waffling as much in the essay as I used to. And it's like straight to the point. Here's the point you're looking for. This is a negative, this is a positive, right, next.